VGK looks to break out of the funk for tonight's game against the Arizona Coyotes at T-Mobile, plus our predictions ahead.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco along with Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen right here on Locked On Golden Knights. You can find us on Twitter at Locked On VGK, at Tony Dasco. I don't even know my own name. Okay. At TD Chris G. And don't forget, subscribe to us, of course, on our YouTube channel. So, Chris, I just remember when VGK played Arizona here last month for the first meeting. Didn't you say something about troubled waters ahead, something about a turning point for VGK? You sensed something wasn't right despite VGK winning that game 4-1. Am I correct?
100%. Watching the first period of that game, it was just very and the Golden Knights couldn't really get off to that good of a starts. And you're just kind of watching the game. You're wondering are the Golden Knights playing down to the Coyotes level? Are the Coyotes playing up to the Golden Knights level? And at the time, it's worth noting that the Arizona special teams on both sides were actually pretty solid. Their power play and their penalty kill. There's a little more maybe hope for the Coyotes then versus now, and the fact that they only have 10 wins on the entire season. But that was the game for me watching up in the press area where I'm watching. I'm like, all right, maybe this team is just missing something. Something weird was happening. And I didn't think the VGK was going to be bad or anything like that. I didn't think VGK was going to have a 1-6 stretch or whatever the heck they're on right now. But something just seemed off that game, whether it was Arizona playing better, VGK playing worse. But I definitely had a concern that something wasn't 100% ticking with this team. And yes, there's all the injuries now and everything. We do have to acknowledge that. But things since then have actually gone a little worse than the troubled waters that I felt were ahead.
Yeah, they're very murky waters, to say the very least. And we saw Arizona coming off of a loss to in Tempe to Montreal. Since they returned from that 14-game road swing, 14 games on the road, they've won 3 of their last 6. So they're playing okay. I think that they could present a little bit of a challenge early on in this game, but VGK, again, still, even with its current roster, should be able to win. No Jack Eichel tonight either, and Bruce Cassidy made that clear yesterday, and the way that he said it, it makes you believe that Eichel's not even close to returning to this lineup.
Yeah, there's a little more concern. You look at the way they put everybody on IR, Zach Whitecloud, LTIR. Jack Eichel was on regular IR.
Mm-hmm.
And Theodore, I believe they haven't done anything with as far as IR goes. We were kind of talking about that, just trying to get all these injuries in a row right now. It feels like last season all over again. So just trying to read between the lines, you feel that Shea Theodore, comes back sometime around the turn of the year was kind of my prediction. Zach Whitecloud, I mean, I think they've said it. They don't believe it to be season ending. What that truly means, your guess is as good as mine, but we're not going to see Zach Whitecloud, I don't think, anytime soon, is the fair assumption we can make. And, with Jack Eichel, you hope this isn't something where they just have him on IR right now and they move it into LTIR. I don't know exactly how that could work and what the benefits would be for the VGK to start on IR and then move to LTIR. I certainly hope that's not the case, but for Eichel, I had hoped actually this week would be where we would see him. And the fact that Cassidy just came out yesterday and said, no, it's not happening tonight, that's a concern for me all of a sudden. Now it seems like there's a little more of an outlook. And the fact that Eichel, he tried to practice, he did brave a game with this injury and he looked terrible that game, call it what it is. The injury, not because he's a bad player or anything like that. So there's concerns about what the length of this Eichel injury is going to be. And who knows, maybe we'll see him back on Friday against St. Louis, or maybe we'll see him after the All-Star break. That's, welcome to NHL injuries, folks.
Okay, so the last time these teams met, it was Phil Kessel's 1,000th game consecutively. And the top line tonight, uh, how are they going to manage this now? Because Kessel obviously is in the doghouse. Amadio, does he slide up there?
Yeah,
Is that how it's going to run
I
tonight
think it's
on the top
definitely.
line?
I think it's definitely Amadio tonight with Stevie and Stone. Amadio did have a noticeable game when he got his opportunity this past Monday night. Days are all starting to blend together. It's really weird right
Mhm.
now. Um, Amadio was noticeable out there. He made the pass that sprung Chandler Stevenson's breakaway. So that's something right there, at least. And, you know, Cassidy made the comment, we're on our fourth string here as far as, people that are getting a chance to fill currently the Paul Cotter role. Who would have thought we were going to say it like that? Fill the Paul. What's up with Paul Cotter? We're going to see Paul Cotter back. This is taking a little longer than I thought it might too.
I
Hopefully, we're
know.
going to see him soon.
I've got the gift ready to go with Welcome Back Cotter and all that. I'm very concerned about him not returning of late.
Yeah, I guess there's that. I mean, you got your gifts, so I hope the Knights win. That's my angle. You got the gift, but you do you. But it's weird right now, and you hope Amadio can be noticeable. And I mean, this puts Kessel back down, I guess, on line 3 with Lecision and Ronbjerg. And I wanted to make this point yesterday, and just we ran out of time as we always do. But I felt line 3 at times, again, I'll use this at times, when it was Amadio, Lecision, Ronberg, was noticeable on Monday nights. And obviously, Cassie didn't agree with that because we barely saw him in the third period. But I thought there were stretches, even in that second period, as bad as it was, where that line was buzzing a little bit. So I was kind of surprised to see them pretty much ignored, along with Phil Kessel, unfortunately. And Arizona, I mean, all 10 wins that they have, they're doing okay as of late, as you mentioned. But all 10 wins that they have, you hope a line like that can get some confidence. You hope Kessel can get some confidence. I guess we can presume that's going to be a line of Kessel, Lecision, and Ronbjerg, and we'll see if he can make himself noticeable. I think we think Cassidy likes the misfit line together, and I don't mind the misfit line. I mean, they had some good opportunities, and Riley Smith, I mean, Riley Smith is trying to take on the Jack Eichel role right now, where he gets that puck and he's just trying to, he's not trying to do too much. I want to stress on that. But Riley Smith is that person right now. When he touches that puck on the second line, he's getting chances, and he's getting dynamite chances. So Riley Smith, through this tough time, has been playing extremely well, and he's trying to single-handedly turn this thing around.
So for Arizona, they've got in the first meeting, I don't think Nick Schmaltz played. He's back. Clayton Keller, the top scorer, 12 and 18.
Yeah, Keller played. He got a goal in the last game, I
Yeah,
believe.
Keller, yeah, but I don't think Schmaltz did in the first
I
meeting.
don't think so. I don't recall.
That was the only goal was Keller's in that first meeting. And then Gazasper, 23 points. The rookie Matthias Michelli, still playing well. 3 goals, 19 assists, I think. And you remember they were having some issues. They were doing pretty well on 5-on-5, where VGK does not excel in 5-on-5. I remember
The
Andre
stats are terrible
Tourney.
5-on-5. I don't have the
Remember
numbers
that?
in front of me. They're so bad right now. They're terrible 5-on-5
So
at
we
home.
we might have that dynamic of Arizona playing better on 5-on-5, and obviously VGK special teams
Everybody's
are
better on
starting to perform
5-on-5
well.
than us. Everyone's better than us 5-on-5 right now.
Yeah. What are the problems with the 5-on-5 with this team? What do you think? You've been
It, it,
there. You watch them every
it's
day.
tough because, well, first of all, you mentioned Michelli. I like Michelli. He's such a fast skater, 19 assists. It's, again, using the Moneyball reference. The only thing holding that kid back right now from being a little more notable, his defect is that he's in Arizona, which is unfortunate to say it like that. If he was in like a mid to a major hockey market, you would hear a lot more buzz about him. And I guess I'll continue to beat the drum. I pray to any holy hockey god that Connor Bedard does not end up in Arizona. Let him go to Chicago and just help build that franchise back up and see where that ends up going. The 5-on-5, I mean, you're asking what the problem is, and I'd be on the payroll if I could twist that Rubik's Cube and give Cassidy an answer, because he doesn't know the answer. Call it what it is. He knows he knows the answer, and we're going to talk more about this in the second segment, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. But right now, he's unable to get the translation to the team because clearly the results are not there as of right now. As far as what's going on, I mean, like you said, it's in their heads so hard right now. And in between interviews on Monday night, me and the other media members, we were just kind of talking like it's in their head, and that's why I went to the snake bitten question. I asked all three of my questions. I used the word snake bitten, and all three, answers somewhat agreed to that. And you really saw it in Chandler Stevenson's eyes. I mean, he gave the nod and said, "Yeah," and it's there, it's noticeable. And hockey is a funky game. Professional hockey is a funky game. Anything, in whether it's a game or in life, if you start overthinking it, that's when you start making mistakes. Like, the team is not loose right now. The team is not relaxed. And they try to be, although I did put out there on Monday night, I always like to stand on the VGK side, right in the tunnel. I'm right ice level. There's me and a panel of glass and all the players. And I love watching the way they are and their mannerisms, their interactions, and they still have fun. Like, poor Ben Hutton gets crushed, and then Will Carey actually went in there. Go on my Twitter at TD Chris G, or it's at Locked On. I always tag Locked On, and I always do a series of videos during pregame when I'm there, just kind of singling a player or little things that I like to watch. And there were some fun moments as always, but it didn't seem as fun and loose as it normally is. Marchessault is usually out there razzing the goalies and stuff like that. You didn't see as much of that. Aiden Hill kind of does his own thing. He's kind of goofy. I got him doing some fun tricks where he shoots the puck in the air and catches it behind his back. I actually showed him that after the game in a private moment between us, and he got a kick out of that. And we were kind of gabbing for a few minutes, but it's hard to answer what's going on because T-Mobile is such a beautiful place. T-Mobile is an amazing place to watch hockey and take in hockey and the show and everything that happens. And it's just like, it's not ticking right now. And the fans are noticing because there's less fans at the games. Yes, there was 17,800 announced attendance this past Monday night. Tonight it's going to be probably 17,600 something. And, the weekend might be 18,100 or whatever the number is. But I'm telling you right now, you scan that lower bowl in particular, there are many, 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 many sections of empty seats. Friday night's game is going to be interesting. The Blues are coming to town. The Blues don't travel well. This is a holiday weekend. It's expensive to travel. So I think there's probably going to be some bargains out there for tickets for Friday night if you wait it out on the Access app to 10, 15 minutes before puck drop. And I think it's going to be a lot of notable empty seats on a Friday night, center strip Las Vegas, for the only team that has never not had a sellout since its inception right now. Think about that for a second.
We will talk a lot more about this funk coming up next. VGK has lost 6 of 7 at home. How do they break out of the funk? It's all coming up ahead right here. You like the funk. That's all ahead right here.
Bruno Mars
Locked
does.
On Locked On Golden Knights. We'd like to thank our sponsor again for everything that they do for us here. It's BetOnline. We are finagling things here on the show because we have something new with Amazon Music where we do no spots. But this is going to air for you right here. And so that's why I'm juggling things here, because we have to time things out and all of that. So stay with us here. But betonline.net is your number one source for all your sports betting information, for your stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league that's out there, from pro football to college bowl season to basketball to the NHL. We've got it all on betonline.net. If you love sports podcasts, you can even find those on BetOnline as well. We are always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting information. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn a lot more. BetOnline, where the game starts. Welcome back from Las Vegas, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick. We appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. And you can find our podcast wherever podcasts are available. And make sure that you subscribe, you ring the bell, you push the button on our YouTube page, Locked On Golden Knights. So yesterday, Bruce Cassidy said that his team is going through a little bit of a funk right now. And he said that the team yesterday at practice, I don't know why they're practicing still on, whatever limited time they have. but he said that they did work on a few things. What in the world were they doing wearing the chrome buckets at practice yesterday? Are they going to wear those? They're trying to do anything superstitious to get out of this funk. Are they going to
That's
wear
pretty
them
funny,
tonight?
actually. I didn't catch that in practice yesterday. I wonder if for Saturday's game they're going to go chrome domes and
Oh, they're the
burst
worst.
retro.
They are might be the worst things I've
Tony,
ever
if they wear
seen.
those chrome domes and go on a winning streak, you and everyone else will love them. And maybe maybe it simply is a way to snap out of something. Maybe it simply is a way to snap out of something. I found the tweet. So, not what VGK fans want to hear. Troubled waters may be ahead. VGK struggles, but wins on the road defensively. Bad loss to the Blues and the Sharks, and a tougher schedule ahead. 15-4-1 is all roses now, but it may change. Line 3 only had a handful of shifts. Has been unnoticeable in most games. To make a deep run, a team has to have 4 lines to attack with in waves. VGK lacks it as of now. So I don't know. I mean, this is a spot where I don't wish I did have a proper outlook, but at 15-4-1, I guess I noticed something, and it's unfortunate, but the reality is the team has been struggling right now, and to the fact where they're messing with their helmets at home to try and snap out of it right now. So, it's again, I did start yesterday's show, or at least my second point was that we're still top of the West, still top of the Pacific. And I think the important thing that me and you need to go back to, Tony, is we both felt, I made this point yesterday, I'm going to make it again. We both felt a 500 win percentage in December with a healthy team would have been good based on just the schedule, based on everything. And the team is 500 while they're missing all these players, and things do loosen up a little bit in January. So if they can get through this and hopefully figure out some things, whatever message Cassidy is sending needs to be done differently because the team isn't responding to it. And that might be the bigger long-term concern with me than the short-term results of the team not doing well at home, given their injuries.
Okay, fans might not agree with me on this point. They never agree with me
They might
on
agree
any
with you
point.
right now. They might agree with you because
Okay,
things aren't going well. But go ahead.
no, so something about, again, injuries, because that just seems to be the prevailing theme these days, and then just harping on them. And we've talked about this. This is the narrative. It's here now. But down in Henderson, or kind of,
Tucky.
okay, east of where they're at, east of Eden or wherever they're at, they have their AHL team, okay, in Green Valley. And the AHL team is very, very close. A lot of teams do not have that luxury.
No.
They teach the same system in the AHL that they have in the NHL. Shouldn't it just be plug and play with a lot of the players that are on the AHL level and just bring them into the lineup? I don't understand why there's more of a major concern about injuries here than there might be somewhere else where there's a lot of distance. Remember, it used to take 2 days to get players from Chicago to Las Vegas if they had to call them up.
It definitely could, depending on what's happening, especially with the winter months and bad weather. And if you've never, folks, if you've never had the joy of going through O'Hare Airport, God bless you for being able to dodge that bullet. But O'Hare is not a fun place. Midway is okay, but that takeoff and landing is worse than Reno for my Vegas locals. You understand what I'm talking about? It's straight up, straight down, and you hope not to slide off the runway in the winter. That then wind up on Cicero on 55th or something like that. Trust me, it's happened, unfortunately. Back to the Silver Knights comment, plug and play. Sure, yes, to a degree, and that's something I want to hit a Silver Knights game and actually talk to Coach Vivros about that. I wish I could find a way to sneak there on Thursday, but I don't think I'm going to be able to pull that off. It's such a busy week right now. But Cassidy, we've mentioned about issues with the young, and I want to say issues, but lack of trust perhaps at times with the younger players. And for those that may not agree with that statement, go back to Tony's points about Logan Thompson and Cassidy. Cassidy possibly passively aggressively challenging him a little bit with the way the rotation is right now. Tonight's obviously going to be, well, I say about 70% Logan Thompson maybe, but does he come right back on Friday with Aiden Hill? If he really comes back with Aiden Hill on Friday, that's going to tell you something about where Cassidy's head is at right now. Cassidy, and he's not going to be alone in this by any means, but Cassidy lacks trust. Lacks trust a bit to a degree with younger players. We've seen it in Boston. That skeleton is, peeked his head out of the closet a few times here in Vegas. It definitely is not stuck in the closet in Boston. He's had a lot of issues with the younger players. And as a result, Ron Bjergla's decision, when they're in the lineup, they're not finishing games as far as in a rotation by any means. And you can add a veteran Phil Kessel to that same doghouse, unfortunately, right now. Although I think due to lack of options, but I think he is trusting like Miromanov and some of the younger defensemen. And Ben Hutton isn't really a younger defenseman, but he's a lower level when comparing to the other defensemen that the VGK has. So, it's growing pains. It's working itself out. But I'll say it again. Will the team respond to Cassidy's bark, so to speak? The answer is no, as of right now. They haven't, in my opinion.
No, and especially, I think Jonathan Marchessault so especially.
There's a push and pull there. There's a power struggle.
I'm telling you, there's something going on there. So again, Cassidy, great comments. The way that he explains everything to the media and is very transparent, I think, with all of us. Second period versus Buffalo, he said VGK didn't get back quick enough to defend. He said that they compound their mistakes at a lot of times where it goes from 1-0 to 2-0. And he said they're definitely trying to do, it's a 3-0 there in that instance, but they're trying to do too much. He said on the Thompson goal, for instance, 2 defensemen go down that they shouldn't have to leave their feet. Okay. And then you have Hutton and Kessel scrambling back. And that is an illustration of this team trying to do too much. He said they were trying to get back. The effort was there. The effort was definitely there. But at times, we talk about them pressing, but perhaps they're trying to do too much again to try to succeed. And that's a great illustration on one play of just all the things that could go wrong with this team and how they're not just doing what they're supposed to do themselves. If everyone takes it on that burden on their shoulders, then they could be more successful.
This is where I do like Cassidy a lot, because he does try and remain very calm on the bench. He doesn't. He's mentioned this a couple of times now in the pressers, in the limited pressers I've attended, where the team wants to get that goal back the second VGK gives it up. They want to get it back, and then they press, and then 1-0 becomes 2-0, 2-0 becomes 3-0. And going back to that goal was friggin' terrible. That Tage Thompson goal. Credit Tage Thompson for taking what was given him. We're not taking anything away from the fact that he finished it. But, Miromanov going down, I don't think I minded that. Miromanov was selling out. And then you had another player, I forgot who.
Didn't Martinez sell out too?
It might have been. I could be mixed up right now on my players, but one player sells out. Fine. I'm okay with that. But if you go back and just watch that goal, he had all the time in the world just to sit there. What were the other 5 guys doing? And like you said, they're on their heels. They're on their heels, just watching the play. And it happens. I mean, they're athletes, they're humans, they make mistakes. I get that. But, it's given me and you things to criticize a little more right now. And that's unfortunately what the little things that need to turn if this team is going to make a run. I mean, 3 weeks ago, I'm thinking conference finals is the floor for this team. The absolute floor for this team. And then now wild card 2 is not out of the realm of possibility. And I know I'm making my positive points about the record and where they were, when things were going well, but now there's some damage that's been done. And I do wonder what's happening in that locker room. I do wonder about the relationship between specifically Marchessault and Coach Cassidy and some of the others. And, I'm going to go back to this point as well. Gerard Gallant, team is unstoppable at home, unstoppable. A couple of bad runs every now and then that happens, but basically unstoppable. T-Mobile was one of the toughest places in all the National Hockey League to play in, whether it was the Vegas flu, whether it was, just the road teams getting to know whatever it is, who cares? T-Mobile was an unstoppable environment for the VGK. They were okay under DeBoer, and especially DeBoer's first season we took over for Gallant. That was more of the roster, but still, it doesn't matter. DeBoer had a measurable amount of success coaching home games for the VGK. And insert Max Pacioretty talking about the country club atmosphere. And then all of a sudden now, Max Pacioretty was right. A lot of people, I didn't like Max Pacioretty's comments at first, kind of, teeing off on the way out. But you know what? There's something not ticking at home. And whether it's a Cassidy thing, whether it's a McCrimmon thing, a McPhee thing, an organizational thing, whatever it may be, there's something in that culture right now that is making it tough for the players to embrace the night, as PA Bruce says, and they're not embracing the night right now. It's Arizona Coyotes win 9-1 tonight.
It's not prediction time yet, but I just wanted to talk about something that I had mentioned. I think it was episode 363, segment 2, paragraph 4. I think I was mentioning something to the effect, maybe you remember this, maybe you don't,
Definitely.
about within Cassidy's system, Chris, within his system, we often see, of course, the defenseman pinching. And I was saying, Chris, are they pinching too much? They're below the goalie line at times. And so therefore we see a lot of breakouts. And yesterday he said there at times it could be a bad pinch. Well, duh, like we're seeing this all the time within his system, and more so when Petrangelo's in the game.
Yeah, Petrangelo, I mean, he's getting the minutes right now and, still playing with a heavy heart, definitely. But once you're on the ice, that's what we're going to measure as far as the outcome and how things are shaking out. I was just going back over the goals in my head against the Sabres. And the first goal, again, it was a breakout situation. They allowed all that ice to be open and a long breakout pass, basically blue line to blue line. It would have been an old 3-line pass in the old NHL. And then Marchessault has a stick in the wrong lane, and Jeff Skinner finishes it. So that's the first goal. The second goal, again, a breakout situation, and half of VGK and Chance and the people that shovel the ice are laying face down while Tage Thompson just takes a gimme, takes a tap in, right? And the third goal was off a face-off, if I remember. So that was a little bit different.
Off of a face-off, and Cassidy said it was about 55 feet out. And, that shouldn't happen, is what he said. That was the Palat goal there for Buffalo.
Which almost, if you're making a comment like that, you're putting that on the goalie. And I don't know if I agree with that, but that's where Cassidy's perspective is. And Cassidy's perspective is what matters, not mine or yours, unfortunately. So originally, right, this system was to prevent all this open ice through the neutral zone, to prevent these long passes, to stop the odd man rushes. And you think about the goals that have been scored, it's been everything but that, right? It's been, and again, you're without Zach Whitecloud, who, in my opinion, is possibly the team's best stay-at-home defenseman. Shea Theodore, who is a quality defenseman, a little more quality on the offensive side, but he is still a quality defenseman. And you have Miramonov and Ben Hutton, Braden Pahal, for a little bit at least, all trying to get this system. Now, the system should be the same at the AHL level, so I get your comments about that. But, it's a lot of changes, and you have to give a little bit of slack to the VGK for that, but not a lot, because injuries are simply an excuse. And at home, listen, if they're struggling on the road, I think our narrative is different right now. But the fact that they are struggling at home and winning on the road, I will throw most of the injury conversation out the door, because they can do it on the road. This team's going to go to LA and Anaheim next week, most likely win both games, right? That's just how it is. They're going to go win both those games. And then we got that noon game, the noon Year's Eve game, where I'm guessing they're going to go chrome on reverse retro that night. But we got the noon Year's Eve game next Saturday, and they're going to poop the bed. And then they're going to go back on the road after that. And, we got a long homestead coming up in January, so they better figure it out soon.
What a dog schedule. You're home for the holidays. Your only travel.
I don't want VGK home for the holidays, Tony. VGK home for the holidays.
Your only travels to Southern California. There's no excuse for them to break out.
It's a back-to-back. It's a back-to-back. That's going to be tough on
us. That is so tough.
Off of a 4-game Christmas break, it's going to be so tough on us.
It's going to be really tough in that you have to travel like 90 miles.
And they're going to fly too. They're going to fly. They're not going to bus. They're going to fly.
To Anaheim. My goodness. No, but again, the Cassidy system is one that's aggressive offensively. But again, there are going to be some holes defensively, because, for the VGK, because you're not going to be able to get back. And that's what we're seeing. So does he retool some of the things that he wants to do?
I think in a lot of things, you trust the process, or in your case, the process, right? And if we're going to talk about the process, yes, the results need to be there to measure if the process is working. But I think it's more about, in hockey, the opportunities that are being generated. And, before we dump on what's been happening lately, let's acknowledge the fact that Carlson missed a gaping net beyond belief on Monday nights. Stone was
Wait. They
alone.
said he just on the television broadcast. They said he just missed it. No, I think it was just no. He didn't just.
That was major league, just a bit outside type missing. Let's call that what it is.
There you go.
And Stone had two dynamite chances, one being a breakaway from the blue line. They
right
had
into the goalie's pad. He had absolutely no lift or
Marchessault,
there was
poor
no
shootout attempts. I mean, there was, we can go on and on here, but there were a lot of breakaways. There were a lot of opportunities. Smith rang one off the post in the third. So, I mean, if we're going to look at process before results, I'm okay with at least the third period evaluation of the game on Monday. And I can confidently say they should have at least taken that game to overtime. Now,
okay, let's get a break in.
Tonight.
Okay, let's get a break in real quick.
Yep.
We'll come back with our predictions and everything else right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Thanks for making Locked On Golden Knights your first listen each and every day. We appreciate you tuning in. You can find our podcast wherever you get your podcast, and please subscribe to Locked On Golden Knights, our YouTube channel. I'm awake now. How do you like that, Chris? Okay, so it's prediction time for VGK versus Arizona. I'm saying 3-2 VGK. And something that Cassidy said yesterday against the last game against Buffalo here, 32-10 at one point, shots on goal. And he said, you'll win more games than you lose if you continue to do that. So that is a very positive sign that they're, again, putting the puck on net. Are these good shots, though? Are they high danger chances? Most of them, no. Are they coming from the outside? No. It's not like last year in the Pete DeBoer system. Again, the breakaway chances, again, they're in close. They're right there in the slot. They're just missing the opportunity. But if you continue to put the puck on net, you have to be successful.
Eventually, yes. And I'm going to be cautious with my words because there were times at the game it did feel like the DeBoer era where there were some lazy, whenever you're shooting the puck, I talked to my son about this, the money zone, right? The money zone is basically between the face-off dots in front of the goalie, kind of like that big rectangular area right there. And that's where I want him to stand when he's playing his scrimmages and things like that. That's where the puck finds itself. And if he's standing there, he's going to get a quality scoring chance off. And when the team starts shooting from outside that area, this make-believe money zone that I made up in my head, that's when the shots are a little easier on the goalie if there's no traffic there. So there were a few shots from particularly the left high, outside of the left face-off circle, outside of, to the left of that with no bodies in front. A goalie's going to save that 10 out of 10 times, no questions asked. But the difference is under the DeBoer system, that's all the shots. Maybe one high-dangered shot every 20 chances. But under Cassidy's system, there are a few of those shots like that. That's going to happen. Every shot's not going to be this, tremendous scoring attempt, but there is a mix of quality opportunities, high danger, the puck traveling through the crease, that sort of thing. So, you hope you get maybe lucky on one of the poor chances that the VGK was taking this past Monday night, but there was enough high danger, high quality chances to not make me feel like, the team is just, shooting from anywhere and hoping instead of having a plan.
Okay, what's your game prediction tonight?
4-1.
VGK is going to win, right?
Arizona.
You're going to say Arizona. Wow, you still think the funk continues?
Prove me wrong.
I say 3-2 VGK. I don't think they're going to score a ton of goals.
Chris Condos, I know you like to listen. So Max Payne tonight, Condos. Max Payne.
Okay. All right. It's time. Wow. It's time for the locks of the night. I didn't see that one coming. Plot twist.
Prove me wrong, VGK. Prove me wrong, please.
I think they're going to continue to put shots on net. I think LT should come back energized and possessed tonight, and I think it's going to be a nice.
I'm with you. I'm 1,000% with you.
Okay, locks of the night. You can go first.
Great.
I'll pick up the scraps after you.
They're all scraps. I mean, I can't take Riley Smith every night. I can't do that. I can't do that.
No, because you can't go back to back.
Let's go Marchie, because I think he's a little mad right now about kind of the way things went. And Pietrangelo hasn't. I don't think Pietrangelo's hit the score sheet since he's come back.
An assist in his first game back.
An assist. Okay, all right. Pietrangelo will be my second.
Okay.
Oh, I take one of yours.
No. Mm-mm.
Come on, take Rob Urban decision one time.
I'm going to go with Martinez.
I like that.
And I'm going to go with Amadio.
I like Amadio. I like that.
I'm just going to. Martinez he's not scored, right? Hasn't had a goal. I think he's goalless too.
We're 3 assists, I think, right? 3 assists, I think, is all it is. I could be totally wrong. I'm throwing that out there. And
he has
I'm too lazy
to
hasn't. I'm too lazy to check right now.
It's all good. But no, it's going to be a pretty interesting game tonight between VGK and Arizona. They always come to play. Right?
Who would have thought this was going to be an interesting game tonight during the holiday break? A random Wednesday game against the 10-win Coyotes, where VGK is measuring themselves right now. Think about that for a second. That's a concern, Tony.
And this schedule is not a good schedule right now. They should just be sweeping up every win. They should be getting points every night, every single night, with the way that this schedule is falling. And even if it's an OT game, what have you, they should be getting points. Should be stealing points, right?
Yeah, imagine if they lose like 1-0 tonight. How like in overtime? Could you imagine?
That would be devastating for the fans.
Hey, Condos, another one devastating. Sorry, just inside friend stuff. That's all.
I got you. We thank everyone for tuning in to today's show. As always, we appreciate you making us your first listen. Your second listen should be Locked On Sports Today. You can find that wherever you get your podcast, including on the Odyssey app. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights.